Greetings and salutations, everyone. How is everyone doing?
Morning. I have pizza, so I'm good.
Pizza can be very, very good. So,
what's happening?
Well, another gloriously wonderful day at the paid drudgery to come home to more of the same. But it is, in fact, Friday night. We do get an opportunity to see and experience and explore the lives of the Gary Coterie. We won't be having Leonetti tonight. And has anyone reached out to...
I'm here right now. I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it or not, so I just wanted to tell it in advance. But I'm here, thankfully.
Well, here is definitely very appreciated. Thank you so much for being able to make it. Has anyone reached out to Nikki?
They were just here like a couple seconds ago, and then they poofed again.
Yep.
Technological issues are always so much fun. All right. Well, and speak of the devil, and there's welcome, Nikki. Hopefully things are sorting themselves out. We will have you for the long haul. We're just touching base and seeing how everyone else was in regards to their week, in regards to their day. And we're getting ready to launch into our favorite portion of the start, which is, are there any questions, suggestions, or hypotheses or corners we need to round off? For those of you who may not have heard or may not listen to our last episode to know where we are.
I've listened to a bit of it, but I didn't finish it up. I couldn't finish it because I had an next time. So I remember that Farmer is possibly betraying us, though it feels a little weird when I heard it. Some things that were wrong. But what about the situation? Who is captured? Who else is captured besides the first person who made the stupidest, that just got up and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" You're trying to capture.
Okay.
Well, if you give me a second, I bet you I can make it a quick recap for you if you want.
Oh, well, I'm always a fan to hear how we interpret what took place. So fire away. That would be very, very nice.
So what happened was Haley was one of the people that were unstaked from the bag. Artie is completely dead, desiccated. There is no bringing him back. Marcus definitely betrayed everybody and tried to get us to be the prey for the cultists that were notified by him setting off gunshot, which Gigi very much right before had told him not to do. In the course of things, there was a merry chase through the woods. Haley was recaptured and used as the bargaining chip, but cleverly flipped it on Marcus, and now he is being chased through the woods by the cultists as he lost the fight that they got into. While that was going on, Gigi and Nikki were working their way towards the tree because Gigi found explosives in Artie's pockets. and stuck to the needing to destroy the tree. The other two, we were assuming, were out wandering and trying to get away from the cultists, so I don't know what happened to John or Leonetti yet. I'm sure they'll come up with that. In the interim of that, Nikki kept an eye on Haley from a distance. The Anarch leader was trying to keep a hold on Haley to use, again, her as a bargaining chip. PG managed to get to and blow up the tree and then turn into a fiery comet as she was blown back away from the tree and landed next to Nikki. Seeing that Haley was in trouble and getting dragged off, PG again, despite being hurt, attempted to knock down the person that was dragging her away. They all got a gun pulled on them, and now they are headed back to the bar that the Anarch leader holds, because he is going to hold them for the cultists. What else?
Okay, so essentially, Marcus tried to trust. It backfired on him splendidly, and we blew up the tree. And with Morgan, we're trying to just he's the Midwest that they might see another news. I get it deep to general part, the next ballpark.
Pretty much that, yeah. So we're getting dragged back to the bar. So he's going to hold us captive until the cultists supposedly show up. And that leaves, I guess, whatever chance for you guys to try to meet us back there or make it back before we get there and help us get away. Or I don't know, because I don't know what happened to you two in the woods. But what we started with was trying to get away from where the cultists were.
At the beginning, it was said that we hid away.
Yeah, we stumbled into some bushes. That's all.
Yes.
But then there's no way you didn't hear the blowing up of the trees and the taunting and the fighting and the chasing through the woods. There's no way.
I'm guessing that they just still betrayed him. His last joined it, so he's just having a crisis of interest. And just
So Leonetti is, just so that we can wrap our head properly around where Leonetti is. The hidden truth that had been tremulating just beneath the surface for the last year has finally come due. The bones that held the foundation of what Marcus Farmer was revealed. And there is a opportunistic survivor scheming at base. We're dealing with a kindred who has utilized friends, associates, enemies to remain in their state of unliving. A failed Ventru, become Tremere, unwilling to be either Anarch or Tower until it best suited themselves. When the chips were down and it seemed as if you all were outnumbered, outgunned, and there was very little chance of survival, he was willing to trade on his knowledge of you all to better himself, to better his standing. Having that truth sit there, where does that place Leonetti, knowing that he would have overheard that much of things before all hell hit the fan, before his own survivor and Lasky's survival came into play?
I think that he was very much. It's less about himself betraying. It's just that now it feels like the entire film was gone. It's just But he has heard these conversations. Heard certain things. And he doesn't. He wants to at least save himself and help himself out of this situation. And this new cook accepts that these individuals are what he had. He needs to get March for the start.
Your mic is extraordinarily robotic, but I got the gist of it. He's still torn, and with this new coterie, with these people who have been willing to risk so much, it is definitely a blow that would leave him consternated mentally and Twitter-pated physically, considering that he's in the middle of a forest without a gun, with so many people who want blood, or specifically his and his coterie's blood, and Mafara willing to trade on that want and seemingly willing to provide whatever it was that they might need until things got turned sideways. However, and always, thank you all for being here. It really does mean a lot. Play is very important to me, and while Gary has not had the opportunity of digging deep and surviving as many impossible moments as elsewhere, they're still very much a part of my healthy play regimen and part of the triptych of coteries in operations in the Chicagoland area, which doesn't include just Chicago, but includes pretty much the entirety of northern Illinois and northwestern Indiana. So, from the bottom of my heart and top of my mind, and all the places in between that pertain to play, thank you all for being here. This, without much further ado, as we are easing well past our hard start, is Season 4, Steelheart Rusted Souls. The epilogue of Season 4, and potentially the start of something so much more with this particular coterie. Today's episode is Sharpened Minds, Gnawing on Clarity. With that recap care of Gigi and our understanding of where Leonetti is mentally and emotionally, with all of the pokers in the fire, with all of the plates spinning in the air, we dive into where we last left our coterie. And what that means is Gigi, Haley, and Nikki are being escorted back to the Last Chance Saloon in the company of Warrington, which the name is relatively well fitting because it is in fact the last chance and last opportunity that this coterie has of making something of themselves that would prevent the potentiality of a last and final rest. And while the three, Gigi, Haley, and Nikki, are being escorted carefully and lovingly in the hands and care of Warrington, John and Leonetti are another matter entirely. Now, we are aware that you are traveling, Leonetti, so we'll have John roll for you both. John, would you be so kind as to roll your survival and stealth for me, please? You get to add a +1 to the total die pool for Leonetti being at hand. And because there is no trait, you will not be adding hunger. It's just going to be a roll to see what was the result of them ducking, dodging, hiding, crawling through the underbrush while all hell broke loose. While Gigi became a comet, Haley became a Broadway sensation, and Nikki prowled like a black cat amongst the branches. Three successes. That is a complete and total success. That means barring an exceptional push, a notice of something just a little bit off, something out of the way, that most would not in fact notice the two kindred making their way in the night. The grove itself is a magical place, and is a place that technically should not exist, because the only way into the grove that any of the cultists, that any of the inhabitants of Walkerton are aware of, is in fact through the undercroft of the church. The church is the doorway, is the gateway, it is the path forward to get closer to get nearer to be in the communion with the God that exists beneath Walkerton, the essence and spirit of whatever it is that has kept Walkerton as it is. This does not mean that there are not multiple ways out of the place. It does not mean that there are not other ways. It's just that in all of the years of Walkerton's existence, the only way here is through the undercroft. The only way closer and nearer is through the undercroft. That is not something that either John nor Leonetti know, not being locals, not being inhabitants of Walker, not having given themselves over completely to the essence in the corn, in the ground beneath their feet, in the tree which is wounded severely. Leonetti, however, is a man of action and has dealt with death in a multiplicity of ways and a multiplicity of times over the course of his existence. Not just his mortal life, but his immortal one as well. One of the things that he would have easily told everyone and anyone is, if you cannot kill it, do not wound it. And destroying the tree, destroying its avatar, destroying the central physical way that it connects with its cult is a wound, a mortal one over time, but a wound, not a death blow. And as they crawl through the underbrush, with the cultists chasing after Marcus, with the cultists attempting to corral, capture, and sacrifice Marcus, between John and Leonetti, who has the higher stealth?
I don't remember what Leonetti's is, but -3.
Quick second.
I'm almost where I can get to my computer and look that up.
No worries. I do happen to have Leonetti's character sheet. Give me a quick second to open it up and see what's crack-a-lacking, shall we? Because Leonetti is a man of action. He does things. He is not necessarily usually the sneaky, skoky sort. In fact, it is a dead tie. It is 100% an even kill between the two of them. His specialty, however, is, well, kindred. Does Lasky have a specialty in stealth?
I don't think that he does. I'm probably could give him one though, but I'm not going to.
No. Leonetti has a specialty against kindred. He is a specialty adept at sneaking up on the undead of the world. Now the question is, does Lasky have a specialty?
Nope.
That may be that means that there is no assistance in his regard. As they skulk amongst the underbrush and the shadow of the trees and the bushes, and all of the hectic activity around them swirls to a cacophonous apex. Leonetti goes deathly still, while Lasky, struck with the sheer hilarity of farmer running to and fro, using speed to duck, dip, dodge, and, well, dodge, a small, snickering giggle escapes. the smallest of things. But unfortunately for him, the smallest of things is what makes the biggest of differences. And Farmer, ever the wary individual, throws his voice. They're over there! Literally pointing towards Lasky.
It's not shooting it up. It's using little thing.
Run.
Where?
Away from Marcus.
So when he says they're over there, Lasky just takes off.
Did I see? I don't know if Lasky saw that Marcus betrayed. Actually, no. Lasky will start going towards Marcus because friend.
And Leonetti, you see Lasky abandon stealth.
Yeah, he does not follow because instead he tries to maintain his stealth and stay as quiet as possible.
All right, sounds like a plan. So as Lasky unveils himself like Clark Kent, taking off his glasses to reveal what he actually and truly is, you have never seen up close and personal what happens when a predator is presented with easy prey. When a pack of hungry, ravenous beasts are presented with steak, it is effectively a pack of lions presented with a young mewling hyena cub. As Lasky begins to move towards Farmer, who is already ducking back through the brush as he tries to cross the distance away from the oncoming onslaught of 6 of the cultists who he was dodging and avoiding, trying to buy himself time. And Lasky, ever the brave sacrificial lamb that he is, presents himself like a red flag before the bull. He's waving and catching the bull's attention. He is that lamb, that sacrificial lamb. The last time they were close enough to put hands or tooth or boot to Lasky, they nearly ended Gigi and Lasky and Leonetti. This time the idea is to capture so that the sacrifice will be bounteous. And as they begin to close and you see the madness in their eyes, the saliva frothing and foaming at the corner of their mouth, you can pinpoint whom and what is mortal and whom and what is actually kindred based on the saliva and foam at their mouth. Either is pinkish with bits of red signifying kindred vitae soaked fluids, or the frothy effervescent that is human saliva. The madness, though the same, has a different seeming. But speaking of a different seeming, the last time Gigi and Nikki were at the last chance, Warrington was everything gracious. He was beseeching. He was a decent host. He was working his trade and attempting to make friends. This time it is clear that while he is no less the host, that the attempt of making friends has clearly gone by the wayside. Whatever happens, happens, and then you all can deal with whatever falls out afterwards. So, as you all arrive at the last chance, and he settles you all with him in his office at gunpoint, he offers. So, last time I did offer you all an opportunity to partake. It seems as if you all are considerably more parched than previous. And young Miss Brookstone can clearly attest to how ingratiating our donors are. After all, it was her and Caldwell's use and enjoyment of our donors that presented them the situation they were in. Can I offer you all some refreshments?
Gigi knows she's pretty hurt. She might want to take the blood just to get some strength back, because she has no intention of letting Warrington keep them here. That's what he said. She wants to get away, so he just kind of smiles politely. If you got anything unleaded, honey, I'll take it. I don't want nothing spiked.
I don't know that you should be using my name as some sort of commercial prospect without negotiating for some sort of, I don't know, like endorsement fee.
Well, between the three of us, 4 if you count, and he motions to Nikki, who is considerably the antithesis of the blonde thing she had previously. You are sure to attest that the donors here are considerably more filling and enlightening than otherwise. I have heard things about various places in our region, the Piscateers, Silks, Salacious, I believe they call it, though I don't see that such a thing is actually possible. But Warrington is its own hub of activity, and we have quite a few willing to give so much more than the last drop. As such, your understanding of what we offer, I think it would help put your temporary new associates at ease. After all, a good party is still a good party, and you can attest that the party was quite good.
Well, I suppose, but the party sort of ends when you pull the gun out on us, don't it?
No, clearly not. You have not been to the right sort of party. Gun play is, well, just another form of play after it's all said and done.
So why are you working with these humans?
Well, really ain't much ways to get much done without doing so. You ever wonder why the population here always stays at 665, despite all of the outlying people that live within a stone's throw of this place?
It has crossed my mind.
There's a balance of things happening. And every time the population has a chance of getting above that 665, there is a need for a culling of sorts. There's a need for sacrifice. I've managed to survive and live through 4 of these sacrifices, and Caldwell was coming here to help us and assist us. I don't know how he found out about it, because every time I send a message, every time I send a word, every time I send a letter, it's always intercepted. It is always ended. It never reaches its intended location. I have tried to leave several times, and each time I have been, well, my car blew up on me the first time. The next 15, there were flats and tires that left me stranded with just barely enough time to dig myself a grave to escape the sun's graces. There was a time that as I crossed the bridge, heading south out of town, it fell in under its own weight. There's something that keeps us here, and I would much rather be one of the 665 than that 666 that must remain. So I work with the humans, who can come and go as easily as they wish. We get all sorts of truckers and drivers through here. As long as they're not staying, nothing need be done. However, Kindred and the wolves out there in the hill can't seem to escape this place. Once you are here, you are either sacrificed or you toe the line. And I'd much rather toe the line than be a sacrifice. You do understand. Nothing personal, of course.
Kind of sounds to me like you might want to answer the call about your car's extended warranty.
Has anyone tried to contact the Lupine?
Thing is, Kindred are fairly powerful. And if they decide to work together, why couldn't they just destroy the tree? Like I tried to tonight. But y'all rather be pets and kept, huh?
You know the only thing worse than a rampaging lupine living next door? It's an angry god that has bled into the soil that exists in the corn, that runs through the blood of so many of the locals that you're not sure exactly which they may choose to inhabit whenever they choose to inhabit it. You have not had the opportunity of being mid-kiss when this thing looks into your eyes as if you are a lover from a long, long time ago, and that they want nothing more than for you to take all they have into yourself. It may happen tonight, it may happen tomorrow, if you all are deemed worthy enough to survive. It is unsettling. And the tree, the tree is its antenna. The tree is its broadcasting center. The tree, well, the tree is kind of a landmark that, well, allows us to have a point of contact. It's the landline that goes only to one number. Destroying the tree, well, you are about the most successful at it. One, and two, most others who have attempted to make their way to the tree have succumbed to the weight of its presence. Hence, Starchild, who acts as its other avatar from time to time. So, you three wonderful kindred, who have been fairly lucky so far, managing to get past all of the scrutiny, managing to survive being staked, which normally kills most of the others because they have been staked with bits of the tree. With all of your know-how, all of your understanding, your outsider's view of things, what do you think might be the best course of action, considering, well, if push comes to shove and it's me or you, I can assure you that it will always be you. I'm willing to work with you, but as long as we have an understanding as to where things are going to go.
Isn't that Kindred's nature?
It is, but it's often forgotten that betrayal, that looking out for number one, that considering the weight and facts of things and making your best play is the only way to survive to near immortality. After all, there can only be one number one, and in any situation where you don't make yourself number one, you're not worth the effort of keeping you around. Because if you can't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of my interests? How are you going to be the best friend possible?
So, let me get this straight. If there was a way to get rid of this demon and take the power from the humans, Would you be on board with this?
Of course I would. Do you know how long I've been stuck out here? I left Chicago 1974. I arrived here in 1975. I took the long way dodging Modius because, you know, him and his sire, the Primogen, were not getting along at that time. So I made sure as to take the scenic route, and I was only passing through. I had no intentions of staying here. You do realize that this is not even a one-horse town. The last horse had died in 69 when I got here. There are tons of chickens, tons of bulls and cow all through the farm side outside of the city. And you know what they feed them all? Corn. The corn that this thing inhabits. You know what they eat? They eat corn. Corn bread, corn succotash, corn mush. They make it into meal. They make all sorts of things out of it. I saw one girl upcycle about 110 pounds of corn husk into a dress. These people, these cultists, though truly fanatical, will show themselves. Those are easy enough to avoid. It's the other ones that have taken this thing into themselves and quietly changed inside. Those are the ones that catch you by surprise.
You know what this means, don't you?
That I should stake myself and let everything fall apart.
This town is prime for a Papa John's.
It would be
Question. What about the hunter at the library? The former hunter. And also, you've been here almost 50 years and you haven't said anything about this demon or as a ways to get rid of it.
I know enough to stay away from it and to work with it whenever it demands. I know enough to continue what little business I have by dealing with those who travel through here. The closest I've come to getting a message out was one of the truckers. Didn't know that they were carrying my missive, did not know that the graffiti on the back of their truck was signed that I needed help, and I had no idea that Caldwell would come running. But he did, and he brought information as to what's happening up there in Gary, and I'm very interested and would love to help, but I am stuck, just like you all. Y'all ain't gonna see Gary no more. Y'all ain't gonna see anywhere anymore if y'all don't find a way to either help me get rid of this thing or help me to help yourselves and make yourself useful to the cult. Of course, that means that other people will be sacrificed, but that is the cost of doing business. That is the cost of staying alive. And yeah, the hunter. Well, they're not really much of a hunter. They keep most of the wolves at bay because they don't know the difference between lupines and kindred. So we let them do what they do, and we don't mess with them, and they go find a lupine who made the mistake of getting too close to the city and letting themselves be known as something not quite human, and the next thing you know, they are on the sacrifice list. It's always funny. The more that the numbers are sacrificed, the more people tend to show up and decide to stick around or can't leave. So you, 6, means there will be at least 5 more sacrifices. I believe that you all inadvertently already sacrificed one of them. Or was it 2? Because Caldwell didn't make it. I was noticing.
So you really got no plan then? Been here for 50 years, you got no plan at all?
I've got lots of plans.
Well, other than staying alive.
Well,
to sell us out and just sit here and do the same thing.
You got a better opportunity for me? Besides keeping what little bit of immortality I have?
Well, you think you'd come up with a plan in half a century, don't you?
I have come up with several hundred, and they have all failed. And perfectly honest, you all are not building my confidence as to risking much more of myself than having a conversation. And with that, he picks up the phone and just dials 1. Yeah, Cheryl, could you head on over to the hotel and bring Roxanne back? She's probably a little tired. You can help her make herself available to our guests. Yeah, I'm already back in the office. I came in the back way. Yes, sure thing. Yeah, the van's there. I hope the van's there. You all didn't destroy my van, did you?
Didn't let her figure on it. And your girl should be quite rested. I left her asleep.
Yeah. Go ahead, pick her up, and I believe that we got 3 of the fading ones. Yeah, send them on in here. We probably ain't gonna see them no more. Yeah, no, say your goodbyes. All right, I'll see you in a few minutes. And he hangs up the phone and looks at you 3. So you're saying that I don't have a plan, and that's fine. But you're not part of my plan unless, of course, you prove yourself to be necessary for my plan. But right now, my plan is to continue with what I have been doing to continue existing. Do you have a reason why I should sacrifice that for you all?
Well,
So you can get out of the town. That might be good, right?
like you said, I'm the closest that's ever come to destroying that tree. And that's on my first night here. Willing to work with us, that means we might just actually be successful in destroying whatever this is hold on the people and the corn and the tree that you can leave. And not only you can leave, but so can we. Because we sure as hell don't want to stay here neither.
It grows on you after a while. I understand what the need to want to leave, and I have been wanting to leave for a very, very long time. I had every intention of heading down to New Orleans. I hear that they were in the middle of their own little civil war, but I would gladly help you all if you had a plan. Like you say, there's no plan. There's no reason to risk. Now, is there? So, your successes makes you interested. Here's the reason why I bother to not just put a bullet in you all and present you all as gifts to the cult. Your mouth and your luck at surviving being staked is a rarity. Most of us who have been staked by the bits of the tree never, ever wake up. You did. And you, well, I could swear that you had a larger cup size, a brighter head of hair, though the eyes are still the same, just more than a moment ago. And yet here you are, the voice. That voice I know anyway, even without that southern accent you had on. So I know you can do some things. Between the 3 of you all with my assistance, I'm sure that there's something that could be done. But right now, I'm not seeing that it would be done, if that makes sense.
You said Star Child is another avatar for this thing.
Yeah, the skinny would-be Jesus.
Why don't we get rid of him?
You think you can? The army of mindless, mindful, violent, vicious, deceitful cultists at his back and call. His eyes and ears nearly everywhere. But you think you could assassinate him? Okay, I'm good with that. Make sure you do.
Maybe we ought to think about it for 50 years first.
Well, a little thought goes a long way, and a lot of thought makes sure that you stay around long enough to have more.
I see you haven't even been able to get out of the city. That's pretty far that your thought has gone.
Well, let's see how you do it in a couple of years if you survive long enough. And speaking of how if you survive long enough, Leonetti, John, everyone has an idea of what a feeding frenzy looks like. But those a certain generation, for them, it is a pool of piranha from some B-movie viciously tearing and rending. For others, it is a pack of lions. And for still some others, it is the image of cartoon hyenas descending on their former lion who acted as their king, who used them as muscle to take over the Pride Lands. All the same, it is a mindless, violent thing to behold, and it immediately triggers those images that feeding frenzy. Never have you been the center of such an idea. As Marcus leaps out of sight, and you can feel the wind of his passage, just how quickly he is in fact moving away from you, Lasky. The fact that you are slowly being circled. There, of the 6, the 2 of them are kindred. And they're closing in, their smiles big and bright, their mouth spilling saliva, foam, and God knows what else they've managed to get into them. They close. It's a mixed bag of ages and physicalities. The one thing that connects them all outside of the madness is from the rent and torn fingernails, from the dirt sticking to various portions of themselves, the torn clothing from running through the brush, heedless, ignoring all of the trees and bushes and logs and fallen things in their way as they continue trying to corral and pin down for capture Farmer. And now you are here. What is it that you, Lasky, and you, Leonetti, are willing or aiming to do?
Well, so what I got out of that is that he is currently taking the brunt of those cultists. Leonetti, he wants to try and find the others, because they seem to be in a better situation than right. He's hoping they're in a better situation than him, and Lasky kind of got himself into this situation. He is not very happy that the stealth they've been keeping is now broken because of a little giggle and a traitorous snake. He wants to kill Farmer, but that will be in time. So he will start moving away and back to the rest of the coterie, or try and.
Okay. That being the case, as he's picking himself away stealthily, which we still kind of go ahead and roll your intelligence plus survival. Your DC is going to be a 2 for you to stealthily and skillfully pick your way back to the path, up into the undercroft of the church, and out towards where you last saw the coterie heading. And while that's happening, while you're making that roll, Lasky, you are the center of attention. These cultists have you in their sights and are attempting to cut off your means and path of escape. What is it that you're doing? Okay, while we wait your opportunity to return, we will focus more directly on Leonetti, who is stalking and slinking away. The cover of night is often a thing that is used for maximum effect. Popping out the dark on someone, using the dark to hide from someone. These are all things that Leonetti is extraordinarily skilled in. And he uses his knowledge of such to find his way back into the undercroft, the lower realms and regions of the church that led out into this grove. And as he makes it into the undergrowth and follows the path up and back into the church with all of the imagery of saints in. You arrive upstairs, having left back through the church, in time to see a van for Last Chance Saloon driving away with Gigi's auburn hair in the passenger seat, with the pink-haired kindred that Marcus was engaging in fisticuffs with, driving away. It's amazing that a town such as this, in the middle of nowhere, would not have more guards. Come to think of it, if the cult was as powerful as they seem to be, why do they only have one person standing guard over their staked and soon-to-be victims for a sacrifice? It's almost as if they don't care whether you escape temporarily. It's almost as if they know there is nowhere you can really ever get to. You can run, but you can't hide. Or is that you can hide, but you can't run? Either or. That very much seems to be how they are operating. Because while it is a slew of them and they are purposefully targeting Marcus and chasing him through the brush as if he is a rabbit from a pack of wolves, they don't really do much to secure any other means of escape.
There's something. Leonardi obviously puts two and two together, and thinks either they greatly overestimate our ability to run, which is highly unlikely, or something keeps us here. I'm very much inclined to think that is a very high probability. But let's see what I can do. If I can just try to tail the, if I can try to follow where the that car went.
Well,
or under by activating unseen passage to maximize stealth.
excellent. And like the memory of a whisper, you disappear from sight. And like the ghost of every metaphor, you simply cease to be physically. You fade from everyone's notice save your own, and even that is just the faintest idea that you know where you are. Alone, on the streets of Walkerton, heading towards the Last Chance Saloon. And speaking of last chances, 6v1, or if you are of a very specific sort of bias, 2v1, because the others are human. The madness that dances beneath their eyes and exhibits itself in their hunched shoulders, their outstretched fingers, very claw-like, gripping the air absent-mindedly, as they move slowly forward, attempting to keep you dizzy and off guard by how slowly they cut off your path of escape. What is it that you do, Lasky?
He attempts to manipulate them.
Manipulate them? Do tell.
fuck, he doesn't have that much subterfuge, but he does have manipulation. Come on, guys, you went that way. He points to where Marcus fucking leapt.
Okay. So, having revealed yourself to them, close the distance between yourself and Marcus, having left the safety and solitude of the darkness around you, crawl from underneath bushes and brushes from behind trees to cross their path, as Marcus threw his voice and targeted you because he saw your passing and knew where you all were approximately. You attempt to Uno reverse his attempt and his flight from their cultist justice.
Yes, I attempt to perform. I don't know. What's a logical way out of this?
Well, you do have feet. You do know where the path leads up into the church. You do know where Marcus went. You can always follow Marcus, head towards the church, run, fight, or some other more direct way of interceding and interjecting yourself away from all of the danger around you. And that danger is very numerous at the current moment because you're literally in the path of these 6 cultists. Now, here's the thing. As a member of the vaunted Malkavian clan, certain truths present themselves to you almost consistently and constantly. Certain small details that lead to very, very big things. Namely, that the cultists gathered, and here's the thing that you picked up on and still have not found a way to express to anyone. The cultists gathered here tonight are high-ranking members, and you know they're high-ranking members because each of them are of the same forcefulness, the same religiosity as the priest. They have a certain air about them that denotes that they have a standing. They are used to people following their orders and their edicts. They're not followers. They are not as mindless as they seem. These are the high-ranking members of the cult that runs this town. These are the assistant high priests. These are the pastors. These are the evangelists of this particular cult. These are those that carry weight in the community. And in this moment, on this night, in the midst of this very holy happening, they have been somehow reduced, just in the matter of a few half hours. To be exact, there was a boom and a flash of light that went up not that long ago. And immediately when that happened, hey, he's over here, catch him, turned to growls and rage. There was a lessening of the intellect of the calls. Instead of it being, hey, who the, to, and standing before you is the manifestation of that. The frenzied intellect that had been there, the belief, the manner of speech, all of those things have fallen by the wayside. There's madness, and it takes one to know one. And this is a madness of a lesser variety than what you are beset with. Your madness is the madness of knowing the multiversal multiplicity of events all happening at once, the quantum nature of everything around you, and what that actually means. This madness is solely locked into this universe, solely locked into this plane, and if you're not mistaken, solely locked into this city, this village. So knowing all of those things, having all of those truths, what is it that Lasky would like to do? Would he like to join them? Would he like to be one of them? Would he like to flee them? Would he like to fight them? Would he like to destroy them, making madness bad for everyone? What would he
He's
do?
going to run back into the forest and try to hide. And start slinking his way to somewhere that's not there. Like, trying to find the rest of the group. Seeing as Leonetti just abandoned him.
That being the case, would you be so kind as to roll your... We're going to have you roll twice. Once your dexterity and athletics, and then the second is going to be your dexterity and stealth. Because it's going to be a matter of speed as well as just stealth.
GG, this is so funny. Oh. It's 500.
All right.
Well, shit. Why do you think the bot doesn't like me?
And now, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your dexterity and stealth, please?
I'm guessing difficulty 6.
Oh no, just roll. Higher the better, of course. 4. Alright. Well, here's the thing. Order of operations. Time being so very, very important. Leonetti is roughly 2 rounds ahead of you in moving towards a particular location. You are 2 rounds behind him, and in your wake, behind you, following a very merry chase, is a cadre of the cultists. So, 2 rounds from Leonetti's arrival, Lasky will arrive at the last chance, and 2 rounds behind him will arrive a cadre of the cultists. And speaking of time, with that offer standing there between Gigi, Haley, and Nikki on behalf of Warrington, it's very, very simple. And not at the same time. He's saying that he would help you as best as he can without ever sacrificing too much of himself. If there's no chance for you all to win, or it looks that way, he will throw you under the bus as quickly as he would anything else. So what is it that you would like to do?
Yeah, I was muted.
You were in fact muted. What were you saying?
I would like to be more thorough and get more information, if possible, on the demon. To be clear, so I mean, we know what it is. We don't know exactly who it is, right?
What do you mean, what it is? Yes, you have an idea as to what it is. You're not sure exactly which of the many cavalcade of supernatural entities that it might be. Correct?
Well, no, I mean, we know it's a demon. Well, it's like, if it's a particular demon, you know what I mean?
Right. Which of the cavalcade of demons, or which of the chorus of pandemonium that it might be.
I wonder if he will allow us to go to the library.
What?
You heard me. Would it be possible if you would allow us to go to the library? Of course, if you like, you could chaperone us. We'll still be in your custody, correct?
If I get it, what Nikki's putting down, we need to know what we're dealing with so that we can find a way to sever the ties between the cultists and their master cut the puppet strings, as it were, so that we have time to further destroy whatever this is and set the whole town free.
And this is why I love you so much, Gigi. She blows a kiss. That was exactly what I was thinking.
That seems extraordinary. Like a fundamentally fantabulous waste of your time. But if that is how you all would like to spend what is left of whatever time you all have to try to concoct a plan, and he pauses, staring at Haley.
You do know if we have more information, we can come up with a better plan, as opposed to just trying to stay alive and throw each other under the bus. I understand your position, Mr. Walkerton. I truly do. And you, just like us, want to leave this town, correct? So,
I'd be
so what's the harm in indulging a simple request? Besides, she did say she was...
He sets his gun down on the desk between you three and starts rubbing at his eyes. Oh, he looks back at Haley. He frowns. I'd be a
See, we can all work together on this. Wouldn't that be lovely?
Yeah,
if we were like really friends.
And on the bonus side, you know we can't leave town.
We can form an alliance, be partners of sort, right? You want to be partners with me, don't you?
Gigi catches Nikki's eye over Haley and gives her the nod towards Warrington, watch, and winks at him. Winks at Nikki, not Warrington.
She smiles sheepishly at him and bats her lashes.
What? No. And then goes back and he's rubbing his temples as one who suddenly has a pressure headache starting. He can't quite get rid of. He keeps looking at Haley and is scrubbing his face, attempting to get the headache to go away. But he keeps focusing back on Haley. His mouth opens to say something meaningful, something meaningless, something, and it keeps falling away. The words tumbling like a Jenga tower.
Are you alright?
I think he'll be fine. You just need to give him a moment.
You do remember what he said, right? That everybody eats the corn. And what were we told not to do?
I've been told not to do a lot of things since I've got here, so which one in specific are you talking about?
We were specifically told not to take the demon in willingly. And if the demon has made its way into the corn, and the people are eating the corn, the demon are in the people.
What if we were just to burn down the corn? Well, how hard could it be to start a fire in corn?
You also missed the connection to us. We are feeding off the people.
I mean, I haven't fed off the people.
I fed off one.
But I get what you mean, sure.
While them two were sorting that out, Gigi watching Warrington very closely, very slowly and carefully reaches for the gun.
Oh,
And
Nikki hasn't taken her eyes off him since he started acting weird.
Yeah, so while they're doing that, Gigi is very carefully and slowly reaching for the gun. And if he makes any move towards it, she's gonna stop. But if he doesn't, she's going to snatch the gun.
Okay, well, please let's go ahead and roll to dexterity and larceny. You get a larceny.
As she's doing this, Haley will lean forward with her elbows on the desk, kind of cradling her chin with the back of her hands. She'll bat her lashes at him some more to be distracting.
His gaze is still fixatingly on Haley. It's as if the fact that she is seeming to breathe, the fact that her pale skin holds just the right amount of light to keep his gaze focused. It is clear that he is attempting to not remain entranced, yet is not able to quite draw his eyes away from anything else. He not fixate on the purple-haired pseudo-goth party girl. And in the midst of this moment, as the gun slips into Gigi's hand, and as Nikki does her best imitation of one of the Winchesters. We've got to get information on this demon, Castiel.
I've never watched Supernatural, dude.
Me neither. I just know all the memes. Leonetti has arrived at the Last Chance. The Last Chance Saloon. The name is very evocative because Walkerton is literally in the middle of nowhere. It is surrounded by corn, it's surrounded by fields, it's surrounded by farmlands, which makes it not nowhere. But as far as the urban monster that is the standard kindred, it might as well be on the face of the moon. The roadways in and the roadways out are off the main thoroughfare. The path to arrive here was one fraught. And the worst thing is, every kindred here has spent an inordinate amount of time in and around Gary. Gary was forced into desolation, but is still relatively desolate. Those with money and those with opportunity do everything they can to avoid the place. And even this, by extension, is horribly out of the way. Yes, Highway 6 runs through the town, and so does Highway 23, but it's off the beaten path. It is the very definition of out of the way. Even with all the commerce that flows through here, all the truckers that take these original highways. It's not a super expressway. It's not the 4, 8, 10 lane roadways that occupy most actual cities. This is, a 3 lane expressway. It is from an older time, and it shows. You're in the middle of nowhere. And it could end if Warrington is accurate. That's where you will remain, in the middle of nowhere. So gun in hand, conversation still being bandied. You arrive at the Last Chance, and it is a raring night. There's about 5 bikes parked out front. There are about 8 to 10 cartage trucks, huge trailers, cabs meant to be lived in for days at a time, and enough smoke in the air that you would be able to find this place eyes closed. And the music. The best top 40 heavy metal that you could possibly find. It's the stuff that has been edited for public consumption. The darker themes hidden in driving bass lines. The van that you followed from a distance to get here parked against the back of the building. What do you do, Lady?
Well, he first sees if he can get through the back door. And if he can't, he'll make himself he uses he'll use a silence of death and unseen passage to get through the front to as far as he needs to be.
Okay. Roll your dexterity and obfuscate.
Okay. Add hunger, correct?
Yes.
Nice.
You are the ghost who walks. You are a phantom. You are a specter of the imagination. You could steal someone's socks without taking their shoes off. You are good at what you do, and what you do right now is remain unnoticed. So you wait and time it. So a crowd of people are leaving. A crowd of people are coming back in, and you mix and mingle with them, staying just away from giving them a reason to suspect that you are there. You keep your hands to yourself. You keep your eyes focused on your internal prize, and you do your best to escape notice. And just as you make it inside of the swinging front doors, the bouncer stops the crowd that you have mingled with. You think the jig is up, but you sidestep him and send a waitress who was hurriedly trying to dodge where you were and stepped into the path of where you were going. You two collide, sending her bumping into the doors, and for a brief shimmering moment, you flicker into view as if you are the greatest magician ever, as if you just teleported into their midst. And there's the audible gasp of, oh my, what the fuck? Who the?
He just stands straight and continues and says, next show starts next week, as he continues walking in.
Alright. I'm just going to go ahead and roll your charisma and performance. Your DC is...
Oh, it's gonna be absolute shit. What is my DC again?
2.
Oh shit, I have to get this perfect the first time. Yep.
The bartender responds, well, the doorman responds, the bouncer responds, like all tough men who have never been challenged and believe that their size and their sheer presence is enough to make the greatest of warriors cower in their boots, to stop fight with the simplest of players. On a scale of 1 to drill sergeant, he is a -50. But his size and his bulk has been enough to stop most drunks. So he stands to his full height, nearly knocking over the stool that his bulk was barely being held by. What do you think you're doing, asshole? And he reaches a ham-hock-sized hand towards you. Everybody get a fucker show their ID.
Leonetti, as somebody who has actually experienced like true do not fuck with these people, mostly in his mind they're his drill sergeants because, you don't fuck with them. He just looks at him like, really? But tries to see if he has any kind of pats down and just says, guess it's not on me. You have a problem with that?
Oh, so you're gonna be a wise ass, huh? Okay. So, look, there's two ways this is gonna happen. Both are bloody for you. And he throws a shot. A wild, arcing blow that's designed to clear bleachers. Unfortunately for him, he is not dealing with drunk parents at an after-school event. Unfortunately for him, he's never had to apply much pressure. His bulk, his size have been enough, and the fact that the owner of the place is in fact kindred has helped him become relatively lazy. He doesn't have to do much. He barely does. Now that he has to do something, he has to make it ostentatious. He has to add to his legend. He has to add to the legend in his mind that he is truly the badass that he believes himself to be. And the punch that he throws, well, outside of just being big, it's slow. It's a little uncoordinated. But he doesn't need much skill when dealing with the average drunk. You are not the average drunk. What do you decide to do?
I want to... I want to bob and weave a little bit. He wants to bob a bit, and even though it's not his greatest, it's not his forte, he's going to throw a punch back.
Okay. So he's going to attempt to toy with the guy and let him tire himself out while he lands a shot to put him back on his heels, or is he trying to punch through the guy?
Just to punch him back onto his heels. He's not trying to make this scene. He's not trying to he's not trying to add gasoline onto the scene. He's just trying to... He's essentially trying to put this arrogant dude in his place.
Okay. Well...
So what should I roll?
You're going to do the average of your strength plus athletics and your strength plus brawl. And that average is what you're going to roll for both the dodge and the return fire.
Okay, so wait, what again? So it's my strength and agility, athletics.
So you should be
and strength.
Taking a quick gander, I do notice that you should be rolling roughly 3 dice. So it should be with the other portion of being your hunger, of course. That is the average of your strength plus brawl plus your strength plus athletics.
Okay, got it.
Ties unfortunately go to the aggressor. And that would be him.
Got it.
Throwing the wild, arcing haymaker designed to make himself look and feel better about his position in life. And it's not like he spent the last 50 years doing the same thing, being a bully to drunks. Initially through his late teens and early 20s, it was unpaid and without any real upside. Later in life, it became his avocation. He is the bouncer in this no-horse town. He has been the bouncer in this no-horse town and had many lies and legends told about him. All of them false, all of them misconstrued and made bigger than they could possibly ever have been, until the point where he believed his own myth, he believed his own legend. It's so much so that it's become who he is, and any attack on that legend, any bravery on anyone's part, causes him to respond like a spoiled child. Hence, instead of trying to talk it out, instead of trying to de-escalate, instead of trying to find the mature and reasonable way of dealing with things, he lashed out like a 2-year-old who has been told their toys will no longer be theirs. The only thing missing are the tears, the tantrum being thrown. Instead of flopping on the floor, he lashes out. He throws a shot. He tries to take your ever-loving head off. And for once, the legends may be true. The myth may be, in this brief split second, somewhat factual, because he connects with all the dead mass that is Leonetti. The beautiful thing about Leonetti and most kindred is that they are dead. So most of the pains and foibles of life don't really apply to them. And there's a wrongness about their ability to remain ambulatory. That as his very warm, very sweaty, hairy fist makes contact with Leonetti's jaw, the cold coolness of that clammy, sickly flesh becomes obvious. Instead of his face mushrooming and shaking and seeing the impact of his fist, he sees flesh that doesn't move. Even as Leonetti staggers back under the assault, even as force and momentum drive him a step back, Leonetti's fist grazes the bruiser's forehead in return, leaving a trail of dead skin and bruised flesh, but nothing that would stop, nothing that would land it cleanly enough to cause his head to snap one way or the other. But there's a slow trickle of recognition that begins to dawn. Some small voice, some small animal at the back of the bouncer's skull whispering, "That one's not right." Because he landed cleanly. He landed sharply. For once, the punch, as clumsily as it was thrown, was spot on. There was a snap at the end. He twisted his fist. It should have sent Leonetti crumpling. Instead, Leonetti just stares. How dare this jackass put his hands on you? How dare this jackass move just enough so that your blow grazes past his forehead? Yeah, this is going to get messy because you notice that others are beginning to pay attention. All sorts of the wrong attention. The last thing you want to do is throw kerosene on the fire, but it very much seems as if you will have to put this gentleman down because there's something happening behind his eyes you don't like. And speaking of things you don't like, Lasky, there is something horribly humbling about running for your immortality. There's something horribly humbling about survival by voting with your feet. There are growls and grunts and yips behind you by about 3-4 blocks, maybe just under a half a mile. You know that they are on your trail. You know that some animalistic connection is keeping them following you instead of trying to corral Marcus. How dare they? What the fuck did you do? The only thing you did was, oh, that's right, you were there when the relic was destroyed. You were there when their sacrifices were unstaked and unzipped and let run free. You were there when, well, the truth of what they are filtered into you. Yeah. Outside of that, it's not like you did anything to them directly. It's not like you saved their sacrifices. Right?
Mm-hmm. I go. Leonetti was invisible, right? So I didn't really see him.
No, you didn't see him. What you see as you're nearing the saloon doors and making your way in is a Donkey Kong-sized, burly sack of laziness that has the bulk and height of a real bruiser. But he's soft around the middle. His arms have the flab and fat of someone who looks big, but it has not applied themselves. Never had to, it seems. His salt and pepper hair hid by the red bandana and the cheap knockoff leather vest that he wears, completing the look of a tough guy. The unshaved 5 o'clock shadow that's been there probably for the last several months. All of that adds to the image of being a badass. But Lassie has had his ass kicked by enough badasses to know when a fall badass is in his presence. And this gentleman is definitely a fall badass. The fact that he's fighting Leonetti, the fact that he's throwing haymakers that are designed to crumple people, it could go either way. Considering that Leonetti has this bemused look on his face. There's the telltale sign of impact on the would-be bruiser's fists. And there's a crowd beginning to form. Not quite a fight circle, but you could see people easing closer with their bottles and sipping, or not quite sipping enough. You can see the few people who actually are honest to goodness bikers. Their battle vests road worn, their jeans well used. You can see a few of the truckers, their middles spilling over their belts, and others who are wearing shirts a couple of sizes too large, the better to hide whatever it is they carry underneath. And you see the waitresses and the bartenders and the waiters beginning to make eye contact, and you can tell that something is going to happen. Someone's probably going to run and grab the owner in the next few seconds, next few moments, or worse yet, call the police. But something is happening. There's a tremor of attenuation. Attention is being focused. What is it that you do? As
Lasky will touch the side, get the attention of the big guy and be like, hey man, forget about whatever Leonetti just did. He's dumb, all right? And he'll cloud memory.
Really now? Let's see how successful you are, dear sir. I'm not gonna have you roll against anybody, but the DC is normally gonna be 2. However, in this case, because you do have him by surprise, it's not gonna be a freebie. You will have to roll your charisma plus dominate, and you will need to get at least 1 success.
Grab this. I have 1 dominate. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, while this is happening, when he heard that he is looking at you and just like, Leonetti is, you mother.
3 successes.
You tap his shoulder, and he's winding up to step in with an uppercut designed to send the back of Leonetti's head, staking it on his spinal column. He has every intention of demolishing this guy who he doesn't know the name of. He's worried to drop this guy, to add to his myth, to make himself bigger and better and stronger and tougher. And who's Leonetti? Why am I forgetting Leonetti? Where's your IDs? Literally still standing, like he's getting ready to bounce from foot to foot, but it's too heavy to do so, and he's asking for your IDs. Where's everybody's ID? Look, we have local ordinances. You can't be in here without your fucking ID. Go back to your truck, go back to your bike, whatever, and bring in your ID. It's just that simple.
Well, here's mine. And that guy over there, he's just my buddy. He's not gonna drink anything, don't worry. I'll make sure he's the designated driver.
He's designated driver, but he still needs an ID. Local ordinance won't let anybody in without their ID. You need we sell booze and sex, and we sell alcohol, so you can't be in here with. And as he stumbles, because he knows something's not quite right, something slipped his mind. And while he's done enough mescaline and actual acid that shouldn't be a problem, he's aware typically of what he's forgetting, that he's forgotten something. But this is forgetting that he forgot something, but remembering that something was forgotten that he forgot to forget. It's quite confusing.
Memory is fun like that.
And it's quite consternating for him. So the wheels are turning and they're squeaking along. You can see the sparks begin to alight, but he's trying to do his job. After all, that is what he gets paid for. Not that he gets paid much, but then again, you don't need that much when you live on your dad's farm. And well, speaking of consternated, Gigi, you're holding the gun. That's a nice model. It's not ostentatious, it's not bright and shiny, but it is well looked after. It is well oiled. You can smell the mineral oil that has been used to clean it and keep it in full operation. You expected maybe a pearl handle because it was, white handle, but no, it's not pearlized. It's not any jewel. It's actually just a very well stained white wood, maybe ash, fir, poplar, maybe. And with the dark gunmetal of the firearm, it is quite surprisingly stylish, understated even. And as Warrington is still locked on to Haley and trying to shake off whatever it is that's going on in his head and trying to get some words out, it's just pause after pause after pause, and you begin to hear from outside the door footsteps. Someone's getting closer. Someone's probably the person they called with meals for everyone.
Here's the thing, Jig is about to be up unless we come up with a quick, and one of us should go to the door and answer it, keep him otherwise contained. I'm gonna put the gun away for now, but we need to get out of here. And seeing how Haley's the one that's keeping Warrington befuddled, she slips the gun into her back belt loop, like the back of her belt and under her jacket, and then goes to the door and waits for whoever to knock.
Hey, boss, Otis is... who are you? Standing before you is a definition of stereotypical southern bouffant-haired busybody. She is definitely the sort of person who lived her best life from 8th grade to junior year. Her eyes have the crow's feet of someone who is well past properly being part of the youthful bar life, yet still refusing to let it go. Her shirt is open and buttoned too far. Her skirt is several millimeters too high. You can see the curvature of her buttocks even from the front. Her socks are well washed, but you can tell they had been around for quite some time because they're thin enough to almost quantify as silk, even though you're sure that they are quite cotton based on the 2 bands of color across the top. Her shoes are surprisingly sensible, even though they are designed and bedazzled to seem quite the opposite. And her crystalline blue eyes are ringed through with red, deep veins of someone who has indulged in several things that they probably shouldn't have, including everybody else's business. And if you were to put your finger on the scent wafting off of her, you would call it a tequila Marlboro depression.
Taking all that in as quickly as possible. Mr. Gigi is used to sizing people up relatively quickly. Her job, she gives the other person a smile. Oh, we're guessing your boss. He's over there. She kind of like leans to the side, just not to let her pass, but to let the other woman see that the man is in there.
Bobby, Otis, excuse me, man. She tries to politely, rudely shoulder past. But Otis
We're having
is
a bit of a private conversation, darling. You can't come in right now.
Would you be so kind as to
I'll pass the message along.
Would you be so kind as to roll your charisma and either intimidation or persuasion? Well, I never look. You tell Bobby that Otis is up front and he's going to try to rouse some biker who's dressed like some movie star. But he needs to bring himself up here now because Raylene is in one of her moods and is out back smoking like she has nobody's business. Bobby.
We should probably look into that, huh, Bobby? I know, I'm good looking and all, but you have work to do.
There is a point that is often referred to as a tipping point, where things are not horrible, but they're to the point where there's no place for them to go but down, where the tangled mess of things are destined to fall. And mentally, that point for Warrington was roughly about 15-20 minutes ago. The cascading effect of Haley's presence, as closely and as hardly as he fought, amidst all of the stress that he's been under for the last 50 years, amidst all of the sheer pleasure of not having to be the person responsible for so much to protect oneself. He is horribly and wholly enmeshed and entranced by her presence. So while she has the opportunity of poking and prodding and nudging, there's no real connection between who he is and where he is right now. She is the end-all be-all for his existence, to the point where the gift of speech is gone. The gift of touch is actually very closely gone. And there is no world outside of her. If he did manage to shout to the world what she means to him right in this moment, he would lean across the desk and whisper just low enough for her to hear. How much of kindred culture has Haley been exposed to?
I mean, not a whole lot. She was arm candy for a while, and then, as usually happens in her clan, her sire lost interest, and then she just kind of sat around.
The reason why I ask, and the reason why it's a little important, because as one who has been lost to the beauty of a thing to varying degrees over her short existence as a kindred, she recognizes that effect on Warrington. That same, it is so painfully beautiful that even words fail, even connective thoughts of neurons firing fail in the light of something so aggrandizingly beautiful, something so touching and moving to the point that nothing else in the world exists. She's had those moments, small, fleeting though they were. And this moment, this pall that's fallen over him is that magnified exponentially.
All right, he seems to be having a little bit of a moment there, love. Just go tell Otis he said to stop it.
Now, Bobby, you know Otis don't listen to me. Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, miss. Miss, you, and she still tries to
Gigi
talk around the corner of the door.
Very gently by the arm and squeeze a bit. Not enough to break or anything, but just kind of squeeze and stop her. I will help you handle it. And walks her backwards, shutting the door behind her so that they can walk back towards the front of the bar.
You just ain't listening. Bob is the only one that's gonna talk to Otis. Otis is just a monster. I heard before I even started working here that he had defeated 7 bikers who came in with pipes and poles and guns even. Then once he gets going, once he gets a steam on, us little women will not be able to stop him. What about this don't you understand? We need Bobby to come out here and put his ma'am, you, darling, I don't know if you may be a little worried. I didn't mean to hype up Otis as much as I did, but it is the truth, and you're squeezing a little hard there, darling. You want to ease up some. The merchandise ain't free, if you know what I mean. And while I have never had the opportunity of really enjoying my time with women, I would be definitely willing to consider that. You do have such a manly grip, but you want to ease up a little bit, darling. That's a little tight.
She does. She eases up a little bit now that they've gotten a good ways away from the door. It does not let her go because she is not stupid enough to think this one won't try to run back towards the office. And very carefully, I know I look small. I know I'm a woman. You might not believe me, but trust me. This is what I do for a living, talk people down, so I can definitely talk your friend Otis down.
You like that female version of that Mr. Swayze movie that I saw when I was a little bit of a tadpole. He was such a very nice man. I do miss him very much. Everyone hypes up Dirty Dancing, but I must admit, his best movie for me was a little movie called Red Dawn. Wolverine's Forever, if you know what I mean. He's such a sexy man. Look, you need to. Otis is. I don't want to say too much, but Otis is not fond of women folk. You know what I mean? Like, he hides it very well. He flirts with everything that comes in wearing skirts or pants and otherwise that has various accoutrements. But we know, just between us ladies, that Otis, you may not be his cup of tea. You may be a little bit too tan and maybe a little bit too much of a woman for him. If you know what I mean? So don't embarrass him much, but be careful because he is in fact a monster. I'm not sure if you understand exactly what I mean by that, but Otis is a monster. He has kept this place safe for decades. Even I wasn't here. I mean, I wasn't here when he started, but I've heard things.
Basically, Gigi keeps nodding and smiling. But she keeps her moving until she can see basically what the hell else is going on. Does she spot Leonetti and John?
She spots John handing over his ID to the bouncer at the door. She spots Leonetti less than 4 feet away from John and the bouncer. A circle of people having gathered as if they were witnessing something that is not worth witnessing. I'll be.
He told you there was nothing to worry about.
Leonetti. John. There is the stereotypical idea of a southern big-haired woman on the arm of Gigi, pointing and motioning towards you all because she's clearly saying something to Gigi in regards to either you specifically or you three, the bouncer, Leonetti, and John. She, of course, is not the only one who has been interested in what's going going on, but the others seem to be willing to let it play out and figure out what exactly they just witnessed, because what they witnessed or thought that they witnessed was going to be a beating, a savaging that would have added to the legend of Otis the doorman. And instead, he is confusedly looking over John's ID and asking about Leonetti's.
Gigi lets her voice carry. Otis says it.
Who are you? I don't remember getting your ID either. You got your ID? Tell me she's
I'm a
not.
friend of Bobby's. I was in the back office with him. He told me to come out and get my friends if you would let them through, please.
Bobby said these two are okay.
Yes, he did. I was waiting for them to get here.
Luella, this. I went back to get Bobby, and this is his friend. She's very, very manly. You just got a grip. You do not want to anger her. I got a bruise now coming up. Look, you need to stop beating up people. You are the man. We understand this, but this poor dear heart here is she says that they are her friends. They are her friends. She was in the office with Bobby and would not let me talk to him. I don't know what is going on back there. Probably more of the same with that little Jesus freak that comes through here. But all right, fine, whatever. Go with them. And the last is tossed off solely to protect what little small bit of pride he has. His sense of self. It has been damaged beyond repair, and he doesn't know why or how.
So this guy's not an innocent. Which means I ain't saying shit about the ferals coming towards us. Well, to the guy.
So do you and Leonetti follow?
Leonetti goes to Gigi, and just as he's going past, he kind of does that thing where you puff out your chest just to do that, and he does that and goes away.
She tries not to roll her eyes. Come on, John. Got stuff to talk about with Bobby in the back.
And then there were five out-of-town kindred in the warm, inviting space that is Warrington's office. It's a cozy space for half that number, so it is a little close. It is a little tight. You're not quite sitting on each other's lap, but you'd probably have more space if you did. Bobby Warrington is still very much focused on Haley. It is as if he is staring for the first time at an eclipse, and he was dumb enough not to have the proper eye protection or eyewear. He is blinded by the radiance that is Haley. He is tongue-tied. The cat has his tongue and is playing hacky-sack with it. His mind is left on a train that may not come back, at least for an hour. And you all have the privacy and space of his office. What exactly is going on?
Leonetti is saying, could I have a gun? It could have a firearm. This is so just uncomfortable. You have a firearm on you? Or one that I can spare?
He blinks at Leonetti and hands him Warrington's gun. Don't run around flashing that, please. Now, problem.
He hides it. What do you think I am? Do you think I am? Stupid? I'll do my best.
You don't want me to answer that, darling, because you threw your other gun away. Anyway, Marcus has obviously betrayed us all.
Yeah.
And wanted us to be sacrificed for whatever the fuck reason it was. We don't have a lot of time. We have to either get rid of this demon that's controlling everybody, or kill the head cultists or something when they get here, so that they don't try to keep us here.
They'll be here in like 2 seconds or 2 minutes. They were chasing me down.
Well, we don't got a lot of time, but we gotta figure this out. And now, it occurs to me, we came in the back way through the office. Mickey, you think we could find our way back to the grove while they're out coming this way? Get rid of that tree once and for all. I did a good job of starting on it, but you really need to kill it to get out of here.
What?
I blew up the tree, but it just wounded it.
Oh.
It needs to be killed entirely. And apparently that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's other things in the corn, and everybody's eating the corn, and the demons in the corn, and it's ridiculous.
My recommendation is burn this entire town to the ground.
I agree, but the problem with that is fire and kindred.
Speaking of fire and kindred, as you make yourself comfortable in Warrington's lab, kindred don't have the ability to engorge based on things that are happening around them. Not typically anyway. And rarely is that actually a true example of what they're feeling. Yet as you try to make yourself comfortable, there is something that keeps poking you. Something that keeps annoying the shit out of you as you wrap your arms around him and pull him closer and make yourself to home in his lap. So as they're talking, as they're going on and on about how to destroy a tree, they're literally going on about gardening right in front of you as you wrap your arms around Warrington's neck and do your best to get comfortable. It is something 100% aggravatingly poking from his lap.
What you got in your pocket there, sweetie?
You reach into his pocket and you start rifling through his pants. You realize that it's not the pants, that is the sport coat that he is wearing, with it tucked the way that he was sitting. And his cell phone is not your typical flip. It's not your typical anything. It is a several years out of date. And by several years, I mean easily a decade out of date cell phone. It is
I didn't do that.
surprisingly large. It is surprisingly, ridiculously large. It is surprisingly out of date, yet the fact that it's still warm and has a clear signal because the screen is flashing that little green that lets you know that it has power and it has been operated. And the moment you remove the cell phone out of his jacket and raise it up to stop it from poking you, the rest of the coder immediately recognizes that sort of phone.
Oh, isn't this cute? I had one of these, I think, to play with when I was just in grade school.
I don't know what, but isn't that the type of phone? Oh, whatever gangster guy who sent that other thing after us have and sent to us?
100% so.
You're talking about my boss?
No, the one that was at the school.
Oh yeah. Wait. It's sending to her. That's
Robert, are you in some sort of nefarious phone posse?
The fact that their numbers have been rubbed off of the buttons lets you know that he's had this for quite some time. Long enough that even his dead kindred skin has allowed the continued usage to fade and mar the buttons themselves. More than likely, this is the phone that he had when he left. More than likely, this was the height of technology at the time when he arrived and has been in operation ever since. But for the coterie, it brings up a very sticky situation. If it's still been in operation and is being used in operation by others, there is a chance. There's a very small chance.
Haley will just set the phone on the desk. It's no longer interesting to her.
It is interesting to Lasky.
And then the world goes to hell. You hear people beginning to scream, and oh my God, everybody be nice, calm down, coming from outside the door. There's a presence of things that shouldn't be, presence of people that shouldn't be, revealing themselves for what they are, powerful, despite their looks, despite the tattoos, despite the dirt, despite the insanity, dripping off of them like sweat. And it is without a shadow of a doubt that your Harriers are here. You all have time. Because after all, you all do have the opportunity of living forever. What is it that you all decide to do? Hearing all the ruckus and commotion outside of the door, down the hall, in the bar itself, moving in your direction.
Grab the phone. Go back out. Back.
Leonetti is wants to look at the others and say, "Fight, run," as prompted as a question.
What if we were to do the Jehovah's Witness protocol where we just lock the door and turn off the lights and pretend we're not here?
I'm not gonna.
They're gonna break their door down. They know he's back here. We can put the desk in front of the door the best way we can and then go out the way we came, leaving him to his fate.
Honestly, I like this plan.
I don't know. He might be useful. He's been here longer. He knows things.
Oh wait, you're talking to me or the?
No,
yeah,
we're talking about taking Warrington with us as we leave because he's possibly useful.
I'd say yes.
My new friend Robert wants to come with us, don't you, Robert?
Basically, yeah, we're gonna put the desk, that heavy ass desk he had in his office, in front of the door, and then head for the tunnels that we came in through.
There is something rewarding about escape. There's something affirming about the idea of vacating the premise. Well, so while John makes off with the phone from the desk and Haley, hand in hand with Robert, follows out the back door, Genevieve and Leonetti slide the desk in front of the door, leading into the rest of the club itself, and exit back out of the back. You are in the wild open night of a Walkerton sky. You have the opportunity to decide where you all will head to. You have the opportunity of deciding where you all will alight. What you don't have the opportunity of is being the only person to think of the rear exit. You can hear them inside. You can hear the oohs and ahs, people who are accustomed to being feared moving out of the way of something that is clearly monstrous. And you know that the night is not safe. That you don't have much time. What is it that you all are doing?
Everybody in the van?
Yeah, I'd say that.
Vroom vroom, motherfuckers. Oh wait, a van. I don't like that. But yes.
Too damn bad. Let's go.
You've got a van. Are you guys in a band?
Down by the river.
It's a terrible pun. Let's get going.
All kinds of interesting things happen down by the river.
There is no amount of hurry. There's no amount of procrastination and usual foot shuffling and slowness of thought. Everyone piles in. And as you all begin driving, there's something that presents itself in the worst time possible. And that's the fact that each and every time you've driven through Walkerton, each and every last one of you were aware that certain effects began to happen. Streets appeared out of nowhere. You ended up in a place that was not where you began. You ended up as if you were drawn towards a thing. Instead of being able to navigate point A to point B, to get to point B, you'd have to go through point Z. And you all took it to heart and kind of used that to find your way around, to make your way around. That's not the case. There's no shifting of reality. The corn isn't drawing closer to the road. You're not seeing the same church, or the same named church over and over again. It is literally as if the roads are pushing you anywhere, everywhere but here. Do you continue driving north of Highway 6, which will take you point due northwest? Or do you try to find a place to alight inside Walkerton?
Nope. If it wants us out, we are ready to get the fuck out.
Yeah, I'd say.
You want to stop and make sure that you guys have a place to lay your head before the sun comes up in a couple hours, or do you want to push it?
The van.
You want to keep going?
Yeah, we're gonna try to. We're going north, or we're headed back towards Gary.
Yep, northwest taking Highway 6 would take you back towards Gary.
Wasn't that where the lupines were?
It don't matter. I'd rather deal with their asses than this.
Maybe they have a place for us to nap.
In their belly.
Permanently, yes, but all the same strange circumstances of vision and thought and seeing what might happen, and partying and ending up in places where you probably should not be is how you all ended up here. And as you put Walkerton in your rear view mirror and are heading back towards Gary, one member lighter, one member heavier, there's a question as to what you all might do. You can't make it to Walkerton before the sun rises, but you won't make it back to Gary before the sun rises, but you can be significantly far enough away from Walkerton to be outside of the grip and range of whatever it is that rules here, at the cost of leaving the farmer behind.
PG?
Yes.
Back at Leo, should we head to your boss's place? I mean, that's close.
Yes.
And explain the whole thing about Marcus and everything, and stay safe until tomorrow night.
Yes. Better than better than stretching out our necks right now to try to save somebody who who almost got us killed. Let's go.
You mean the Tremere that sold you all out?
We need him
No, the hell we don't.
for something.
No, the hell we don't.
I mean, he was promising
Wanna
your
go?
lives.
We can
He
go.
was out.
If you want, we can go. I only said that because I thought that I heard somebody else say something as I was tired.
No, I have access to all his money and all his holdings
Then let's
myself.
go.
I was his lawyer. We need to leave.
Then let's go. I thought that you said that after we head to go to my boss's place, we come back, and I was like, okay.
Now, here's the question. Who's trying?
Can't be Juju because of things.
Couldn't it be Gigi, though?
Lasky smiles and said maniacally.
No, it can't be Lasky either.
Why?
I have a little
You're
bit.
Leo.
I can drive.
It's not my van, so
It's not your van.
I don't even have a light.
What do you mean?
but I do have a dot and drive if no one else does.
I said that I can drive.
It's probably better for him to drive anyway, since he knows where his boss is at, so that's the way we're headed. Or is why John can't drive. You're the one that got us in this damn mess in the first place. Insisting we come down here.
We found Arthur.
And there it is. There's the sad truth of it all. You literally did accomplish what you had set out to do. Done. You found out where Arthur was. And while you did not bring him back, you did bring back information as to what became of him. You do know with your own eyes and own veracity, know that the mad Oliver Gary is no longer in existence. It's funny the way things work out.
I'm gonna miss Arthur. Of course, now I've got my new friend.
You lose a Malkavian, you gain a Malkavian.
I don't think she was talking about you. I think she was talking about Warrington.
Oh, that's a little
Me.
hateful.
He might be a little cross at me when he gets up tomorrow, but we'll get past that, I'm sure.
I think that will be a lot more liking the fact that you got him out.
You know, the funny thing is, as far away as it seems, in the middle of nowhere, with a careful, straightforward drive directly to one of the safe houses of Pompeo, you all literally will make it just in time to die for the day. If you push it straight through, if you don't move surreptitiously, and if you stick to just above the speed limit, is that something that you are attempting to do?
Yeah. Yeah, with that's the best we got.
The drive has never been so fraught as it is literally racing the sun, literally risking potential permanent lasting death. You all skid to a halt at one of Pompeo's safe houses. They're at the corner of 700 North in South Haven. There is literally 20 to 25 minutes before the sun crests the horizon line. And what that means for you all is that in this moment, you all are facing an existential dread. You know that the lightning of the sky, as the dark violet midnight of the star's light dissipates and grows lighter, that there's but one outcome, and that is death. If you are anywhere remotely open to all of that light that's being threatened in the distance, you can feel it in your bones. Would everyone be so kind as to roll 1/3 of their humanity and their unspent willpower for me, please?
You're so nice.
I assume we're rounding down, right?
Yes.
What if you have no willpower?
Can I roll willpower on that?
You may not.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
What's half? Well, 1/3 of 8. Is that 2? Or is that 1?
That would be 2.
And there's 2. 1 success. Thank God.
It is amazing how well behaved you are, how you all fight with the idea of never being conscious or cognizant ever again, how the real grip of permanent death is sitting there close enough that you can smell it in the air. You can see your doom as the sky brightens. And yet, everyone manages to wrestle their beast into enough control that it does not lash out, it does not tear free, and instead, you all find yourselves being escorted into the darker catacombs and basements of Pompeo's safe house. Leonetti is a known entity, a member of the staff, though more as a contractor than a permanent member. And his face and name is vouchsafed enough to provide you all a place to die for the day. It's not luxurious. It is not highly decorated. It is not even actually quantifiable as a livable situation. But luckily for you all, as kindred, that doesn't matter. As long as you are able to be unmolested by the rays of the sun and undisturbed by the living, it is perfectly safe. And as you all are closed into a former cold room that has been dug out, the night ends as do all of your immortalities temporarily, while you all die for the day. And as you all fade into nothingness, 1 second there, the next completely gone. I'd like to thank you for a lovely episode and the end to the season. I will see you guys next season and next episode. Good night, everybody.
99.
Yay, night all.
Thank you.